France repeat comeback heroics, Ballon d'Or nominees announced, Newcastle plan United raid, a transfer roundup, and today's Emoji Mondays all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you're the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So for the second time in the space of a few days, France completed an unbelievable second half comeback, and this time to win the second UEFA Nations League. It was a 2-1 victory over Spain, which was not without controversy, and I know you're all going to want to talk about the offside, and I still don't understand it. Apparently, because Garcia made an attempt to play the ball, it then resets the play, meaning that Mbappe is not in an offside position. But surely, if Mbappe wasn't in an offside position, Garcia wouldn't need to play the ball in the first place. Like, if he's not even there, Garcia can let the ball just run through. The fact that Mbappe is there means he's interfering with play in Garcia's mind. He has to stretch to the ball, he touches it, it comes through. I think it's offside. I know you could look at the letter of the law and maybe point out to the fact that technically, yes, it's not. I just think that Spain have been really hard done by. Anyway, on the scale of things, though, it was a very entertaining second half, and after Imago gave Spain the lead, you thought maybe this inexperienced side could hold on, but France, being the team of winners that they are, managed to fight back, and Karim Benzema is in ridiculous form. At this point in time, he is the most in-form player on the planet, and a pretty good timing too after the Ballon d'Or nominees were announced, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Anyway, it meant that Didier Deschamps has now won a title with France as a player and as a coach in the 90s and the 2000s, the 2010s and the 2020s as well. And it just adds to this ridiculous legacy that he's got with the French national team. And of course, Karim Benzema also picks up a trophy with the French national team. Something that he said he really wanted to do. He's come back and he's done it. And the likes of Raphael Varane, Paul Pogba and Kylian Mbappe all add to their ridiculous trophy cabinets. European champions Italy, though, finished third after beating Belgium in the third and fourth place playoff. Right then, we mentioned it very briefly, and over the weekend, the Ballon d'Or nominees were announced. Yes, I know it was a few days ago, I think it happened Friday night, but I haven't had a chance to speak with you guys about it yet. It's been a nice, long, relaxing weekend, but anyway, the Ballon d'Or nominees are in, and of course, there's the regular names. Lionel Messi's in there, Lewandowski, Cristiano Ronaldo. Those three will probably be the front three runners for the award. But having said that, there's an unbelievable pool of talent in the 30 names. On top of this, of course, there's Romelu Lukaku. He did fantastically well to help Inter to win Serie A. He's obviously now at Chelsea. There's Erling Haaland, who can't stop finding the back of the net. Kylian Mbappe, this, that, and the other. But of course, you'll probably notice that we're talking about the strikers a lot because the goals win matches, the goals get all of the attention, where realistically, I think there are two names on this list who could probably take home the award and no one would really have anything to say against them. Both of them play in Chelsea's midfield. One of them is Jorginho and the other is N'Golo Kante. Both of them have been pivotal, not only to Chelsea's turnaround in form, it saw them finish in the Champions League spots in the Premier League after a pretty poor start to the season. They then won the Champions League. Jorginho was a key part of Italy's European winning championship side in the summer, and now N'Golo Kante's picked up the Nations League with France. Now, I'm not saying the Nations League is on the same level as the European Championships, it's just not. For that, it doesn't count as much for N'Golo Kante as it does for Jorginho. But both of them have been so pivotal, and in an award which often favours the goal scorers and the big names, I would love to see either of them win it. My personal tip for the award is Jorginho. I just don't think you can hold anything against him. Everything he's contributed to the team, both at a club and at international level, has seen them win 2 major trophies. What else is there to do? What else is there could he possibly do at the moment before the 29th of November when the winner is announced? Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on the potential Ballon d'Or winners down below, and we'll be looking at them a little bit more in depth. That is myself and Angelina later on this week. But moving on to some other very exciting news, especially if you're a Newcastle United fan. Of course, at the end of last week, they were taken over. They are now the richest club in the world. Well, their backers are the richest people or to own any football club. Way richer than Manchester City, way richer than PSG, and the transfer window is going to be ridiculous. I bet Newcastle United fans cannot wait. Now, let's not go too silly here. They're not going to go ahead and sign Messi and Mbappe and Haaland, this, that and the other. Purely because, one, this isn't FIFA, and two, because even if they could afford, which they definitely can, to bring in these mega superstars, they're not going to join just a bang average team with an average manager at the moment. So they're probably going to build up, look for a few other Premier League players, much like Manchester City did when they had their first riches. The signings of Craig Bellamy, I think it was, Stephen Ireland, a few years later, Joleon Lescott, these were hardly out of their reach. They had a lot of money to attract these players, but they were signing them from other good sides in the Premier League. They weren't going out and buying the best players straight away. Aside from Jorginho, that was a bit of an odd transfer. Anyway, there are 4 names who have been linked with a move to Newcastle United, and all of them coming from Manchester United, and they're basically the ones who can't seem to get into the first team. So let's go through the names pretty quickly. First off, Jesse Lingard. We know he's a brilliant player. We saw it on loan at West Ham, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says he has plans for Lingard, but if he can't consistently get into the first team, he may want to move on if he's to not only ignite his club career, but also make sure that he's in the reckoning for the World Cup 2022 squad in Qatar at the end of next year. Along with this is Eric Bailly, who's probably not going to get a look in with the likes of Maguire and Varane ahead of Lindelof. There's also Donny van der Beek, who definitely can't get any minutes, and it would probably be quite a good idea for him to go and get some minutes under his belt. And lastly but not least, there's Anthony Martial. Now, whatever he seems to do, he just cannot break into the first team, and it's probably because Manchester United have got so many unbelievable talented attackers. So maybe for the exact same reasons as the rest of them, all 4 of them can move to Newcastle and do some good for the club and for their own careers as well. Of course, this is all not knowing who's going to be in charge, because at the moment, Steve Bruce, it's fair to say, looks a little bit worried about his future at the club. He hasn't exactly lit the North East on fire with his tactics and man management, but he's done the job of keeping them in the Premier League, and there's no way that Mike Ashley would have been able to sell, or that clubs, other people would have been as interested in buying Newcastle if they're in the Championship. So technically, he has also helped this sale go through, but it looks as though that when they finally get to grips with things around St James's Park, Steve Bruce will be replaced, and the current rumours are that it's either Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard who will be taking over. Next up then, we move to a quick run up at the rest of the day's transfer news, and actually there was one more name who was thrown in with a potential hot seat at Newcastle, and that is former Dortmund boss Lucien Favre. I actually think he would do a very good job. Elsewhere, and Arsenal reportedly interested in bringing back Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain from Liverpool. Chelsea are close to signing a new deal with defender Andreas Christensen, and if Ousmane Dembele does not sign a new contract to Barcelona, the club want to let him go so they can free up a lot of space on their wage bill. Next up, and Friday Feels, a quick roundup of some of your correct ones. Nathan 10 NJB guessed that Kylian Mbappe will be on the score sheet in a victory for France. Majin TV guessed 5-0 to England versus Andorra. And Angelina got her prediction correct that France will win with Karim Benzema grabbing a goal. Finally then, we come to Emoji Mondays. This is where we at OneFootball throw a couple of emojis down over some of the weekend's hottest action. And first off, the best player goes to Kylian Mbappe. On the big stage in the final, he was brilliant. A constant threat for France against Spain. Got an assist, which, well, it was just a half-decent, simple pass, but still an assist nonetheless, and a brilliant winner despite the fact he was probably offside, which saw France take home the trophy. Elsewhere, in the crazy moment of the weekend was Jamal Lewis's red card. This was mental. So Northern Ireland are playing away at Switzerland. He's on the yellow card. It's the 30th minute. He takes a little bit longer than normal to take a throw-in, so the ref gives him a second yellow. Why not just tell him, like, come on, mate, hurry up a bit. You've taken 10 seconds to take a throw in. I mean, he's not wasting time. It's 0-0 in the 30th minute of a match. And they need to win as well if they're to stand any chance of getting through to the World Cup next year. Why on earth the referee thought he was wasting time is unbelievable, and yeah, basically once he did it, they had to stick with it, and he got a red card. It didn't help their cause as they eventually lost 2-0. Anyway, the greatest game of the weekend, the best result of the weekend goes to Scotland. They went behind twice at home to Israel and missed a penalty, and then in the 94th minute, Manchester United's Scott McTominay scored the winner and sent Hampden Park into an absolute frenzy. Brilliant result for the Scots. That's all from me then. Check back tomorrow for loads more OneFootball content.